yeah, some dreams will be shattered.
Well, so as half laughing, half crying as he first bans the Quinn, which you saw him wield yesterday. Tom Kench taken off the table. Reminder, we are on 6.1 with Kindred disabled. Elise gone as well. So a lot of these power picks that we are seeing, maybe Quinn, the week 3 addition to that roster, at least as far as Origin is concerned.
Yeah, but remember,
we've seen her a few times.
Yeah, Kindred's disabled, so there's more emphasis on the jungle picks. Maybe they want to shut down Gilius. Say they go for an early Lee Sin on the side of Amazing to put actually some more pressure forward, and then Gilius is stuck on a inferior jungle pick, maybe like Nidalee. That's something that Origin can abuse. Elements have shown that if they don't have a lot of engage, they have a lot of trouble playing the game. Yesterday they dropped the composition with Blue and Janna, mass disengage. Spratel was level 5 when the enemy Victor was level 10 or 11 or 12. Yeah. So they were definitely suffering.
Real difficulty. For the side of Origin, the Callista yesterday was definitely the Lucian yesterday was a big impactful champion for Sven when he had that Lulu available, and both are available. They've made it through picks and bans. LeBlanc was the last one from Origin, and Gangplank taken away by Elements.
So let's see what Elements goes for. Spratel's best champion so far has been Alistar, and he's been subpar on the other support, so you could actually see a steal here from Origin, because Elements themselves, talking to them a little bit before the game, they said they fell into the Lulu trap. So the broken champion is open, you feel like you have to pick it, but then you don't really know how to play it, play to the strengths. So we could actually see Elements forgo Lulu here, but then leave it up to Origin, the team that won with it yesterday, building composition. So Elements find themselves in a little bit of a precarious position.
Well, let's see what they decide to do with it, because for Spratel, if he's not played that Alistar, he's only played Thresh. The Corki can go mid, can go ADC. We've seen that a number of times. And of course, Rek'Sai leaving maybe Lee Sin for Amazing if he wants to go that route. Graves is up as well.
But we're likely going to see the Lulu Lucian here. Really, really strong composition on its own. Like these 3 picks together are a core of a winning team for Origin, especially for the style that they like to play. One of the stronger elements of their play back in the later stages of summer. Even at Worlds, we saw some really good performances from Niels then, Sven now. We saw it yesterday.
Is that locked in? That is. So Zilean is locked in. Spratel, formerly Promiscu, one of the few that is very outspoken. I think he actually has some competitive games on. Oh no, he's Zilean under his belt.
He's also one of the best Zilean off-rollers. So when you meet him in solo queue, and your 2 solo queue support mains, and one of them happens to be very bad on off-rolls, we're just going to leave in the middle which fictitious person that we're talking about here. Promiscu, former, or Spratel now, is actually kind enough to play Zilean in any other role. So he can go Zilean top, Zilean mid. He's a good Zilean player. With the changed Zilean, it's actually very interesting the setups you can do with him. If you have some other hard CC, you just need somebody to lock people down, double bomb them, and chain stun comes out.
Well, luckily Victor's got some CC, Rek'Sai's got some CC, and they'll be dealing with that Lee Sin jungle for Amazing. And we're going to expect Soaz to take that Poppy up top. We're seeing Poppy top become the standard as we continue to watch more and more games throughout the 2016 season.
It is beautiful, though, to see a well-played Poppy top, because there are certain combos you can do that the average Poppy player doesn't even see. Like, I've been watching a lot of Poppy top lately where people just use the W to speed up, then the 1-tap R to really knock people up, to get in position to then knock them into the wall, as opposed to having to use flash, etc. So there's a lot of outplay potential if you know the champion better than your opponent.
Well, we'll find out how well Soaz knows Poppy. He'll be going up against Steve's Fiora, which I believe is a 1-1 win-loss ratio win. Steve has been handling that champion. He's trying to play more of a carry role here in 2016. But there's actually a lot of poke on the side of EL with that Victor, the Corki, the Zilean bombs, the zoning that can come down as well.
Yeah, they've gathered themselves a typical 4-1 composition where Steve wants to be in the side lane, really putting pressure. Hopefully gets that matchup snowballed and starts pressuring his Soaz. So he has definitely the edge and maybe the quicker jump with the teleport out of vision. Whereas the remaining 4 members of Elements, they have 1 tank, then they have an AD carry that can poke very well, they have a poke mid that can blow people up if they're out of position, and then you have some utility kind of disengaged support that can either save you if you can jump down with the ultimate or speed people up when they get caught to run out. So they have a really good 4-1 composition, whereas Origin as a whole, yeah, they just want a team fight and send in Sven. Just let him carry.
Well, send in Sven. It worked yesterday when Power of Evil was buffing him up all day long. It allowed Origin to pick up that victory. Will they do it again? You guys at home have to start logging your votes. Jump on Twitter with the hashtag OGWin if you think they can have their first undefeated week in 2016.
Yeah, Origin this time, though, they will have to dodge the Victor E if they want to win this game.
And of course, for Elements, I feel like they've got an interesting team comp, but there's a lot of opportunity. There is power spikes. They've got a good mixture of damage and frontline and zone control.
I mean,
now we just need to use those tools.
it can crumble if SOAS falls behind. Like, if that matchup starts going downhill, then the pressure can really go on Elements' side. But if SOAS and Amazing can get some ganks off, keep Steve down, then the remaining part from Origin's roster should be really straightforward to play. And we've seen how well Sven plays overall. Once his team is really supporting him with those shields, with the wild growth, he's not afraid to just dash in and deal some damage because he relies on his teammates to carry him through the fights.
Now, what about the side of Elements? Because they've got a lot of poke. They've got the ability to have that 4-1 if they can get themselves set up.
Yep.
But it does require quite a lot of planning, quite a lot of team play. And that's something that Elements, in terms of their bigger picture strategic decisions, have shown a lack of experience. Just quick update, Mithy is just going to be reconnecting to the game, and we'll get on the Rift shortly.
So, what Elements does have playing in their favor is that if they get a little bit behind in the tempo, they can always have Victor clear waves in mid from very far. That's one of the reasons I do like Victor mid, especially into a pick like Lulu. We saw it yesterday where Victor was picked into the Lulu and actually just out-pushed it, out-pressured it eventually. If you get sieged upon by the 4 members, you can clear those waves from afar, being 2 screens away.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for Origin then to force, which means they have to split up. And if a Lulu composition has to split up, it loses a lot of its value.
Yeah, I like the wave clear as options elsewhere as well, with Rolls, with Sprattle. But it is a lot of magic focus, likely counterbalanced by the fact that Gilius will be bringing some AD from the jungle. And Steve, if he can get ahead, if he can get into a carry position on that Fiora, can wreck kids' faces.
Definitely a good point there, being very magic damage face. So again, if the SOAS Amazing matchup can keep Steve down, then the remaining part of Origin can itemize in the direction of exclusively magic resistance, and then suddenly Elements will have a hard time stopping them.
So we'll find out what Elements decide to do. As mentioned, Mithy is just reconnecting to the game, guys. Picks and Bans was jumping in. And you know, for Origin, they come into this matchup 2-3 on the split so far. Elements 3-2. The expectations could not have been further apart, and the results are telling a different story. Now, for Elements, the real test is looking forward. We touched on it earlier, their schedule. They've played weaker opponents to get their 3-2 record. Now they've got to play stronger opponents from a mechanical standpoint, and in theory, a strategic standpoint.
Yeah.
We see if they're going to be up to the challenge.
I think that's what's going to happen for a number of teams here in European LCS, where we initially in week 1 and 2, some expectations got shattered, and we Jesus Christ. And then we had like, for example, Rockhead, you know, certain people came in underestimating them.
Yeah.
They smashed the first game. Everybody was like, "You're wrong."
Wow.
Or the assumption is wrong, and suddenly they find themselves at the bottom of the tables. Elements too. A lot of people weren't calling them the greatest.
Mithy has reconnected. You need not worry, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a blast from the past, guys. Don't worry. He's actually back in the game. We're just showing you how they run out of the base, because we think it's really important that you guys see all angles of that.
Yes, you most certainly do need to. So we're jumping onto the Rift. Week 3, day 2. It is Origin versus Elements. And take a look at how these lanes match up. Also take note, Power of Evil is running Flash Teleport today.
Yes.
On his Lulu, as opposed to the Flash Cleanse from yesterday. Changing comp, obviously.
If I see one more Lulu with Ignite, I will
be very unhappy.
Be very unhappy. I think that's the best way to put it. Obviously, at max you get 1 kill, maybe 2, but the power you have in the late game, by being able to put your Lulu briefly in a side lane to set up some side pushes, create some map pressure, definitely worth it. Preemptive lane stop here from Origin. They're spreading out at different starts. They are covered for delayed invades that stop them, so everything is kind of covered. We are seeing a delayed invade here from Rawls and Sprattle though.
So let's find out what Sprattle and Rawls can actually do, if they're going to interrupt anybody. Amazing and SOAS actually pieced out. I think they were spotted.
So they were definitely spotted, and they do the smart thing. They go to the camp farthest away, knowing that Sprattle will likely check where they are, and then they can still decide whether they go back to the red buff or not.
Well, Sprattle's not done. What are you going to time bomb? Let's see.
TikTok says on top.
Blow up, and Amazing will still get the kill. So Sprattle just poking away, getting information. And the lane swap will leave Sven up top alone. Solo XP, solo farm We saw this yesterday as well.
Yeah, Steve a little bit behind the curve. He's joining the... Oh, Mythy can steal. Mythy can steal.
Mythy can steal.
He got it!
Oh, he gets it! Mythy's got the red buff. Now he's under threat. There's a vital exposed. A flash engage. Soaz has come to help out. First blood secured by Poppy and Soaz. They continue to chase down. Mythy has got level 2 available and the red buff, but I think Steve's going to make it out alive.
Yeah, cooldown on Pulverize level 1 extremely long, but yeah, Mythy pathing in there, doing the same thing that Sprattle did. So crucial mistake from Gilius. You should expect the support to come and have a peek at what you're doing in the jungle. Especially if you are doing the same on the other side of the map. You should always respect your opponents enough that they will at least make the same decisions that you are doing. Yeah. Steve was not ready for the lane stop, whether it's Element's vision level 1 or communication or planning that went wrong. So he went into the lane, left the lane, and went back to join the double jungle. But Elements as a team did not account for Mythy being missing, and he times it beautifully. Walks up at 110 HP, combos to immobilize the jungler, and then just one little auto attack, steals buff.
Exceptionally well played by Mythy. Already giving Origin a gigantic advantage, especially when you consider how pivotal that Poppy into Fiora matchup is, to try and delay Fiora's inevitable split push. Now there's a 3-man stack on this bottom tower.
Yep.
Mythy and Amazing will get some support from Soaz shortly, and it appears they've thwarted it for the time being. Steve's also TPing up top.
So yeah, they send TP top, and then Sven laning help against Steve here. He should be able to bully him hard. He has a 2-level advantage, and if you look at Origin, the member they want to get ahead the most obviously is Sven here. So good adaptation. They catch that wave in the bottom. Because teams are right now 3-man pushing towers instead of 4-man, it's actually easy to defend 2v3 there, and then have the third one coming in backup. So Origin do a good move here, solidify their lead. Soaz will eventually fall behind in experience of Steve, but he has a little bit of a buffer, and they can actually all in. If Mythy connects to stun here...
Oh, this is a scary 2v2 if your Elements run a damage and CC between Poppy and Alistair combined.
Yep, you can get knocked around really easy.
Don't stand near walls. Captain Obvious speaking. Well, Soaz is going to continue to farm up. Got himself a small advantage over his opposite number Steve, and has teleport available. And when you contrast Sven, 31 CS to Mr. Roll's 27. We also did catch the Keystone Masteries a second ago. Mythy doesn't get the Pulverize. The pin does land against Sprattle. That's a 2-man knockup from Mythy. The damage isn't done yet. They cannot dash away, but Sprattle gets a summoner heal from Raz. Now Raz continues to auto-attack away. Soaz is in trouble, but the minion wave saves them.
And you see the little bit of inexperience of playing against a Zillion. If you don't one-shot him into the wall immediately, walk away, because you will know double bomb will come out, and suddenly they lose the back end of that trade so hard, as opposed to just walking away when they've already won the trade. So a little bit of hesitation there. They will learn during the game. Zillion is one of those picks that you meet very infrequently in solo queue, and in competitive there's a lot of options you can do with him that you really don't see in solo queue either, because nobody really coordinates well with the pick. But I do love the potential that double bombs have.
Let's see what potential the teleport's bringing. Soaz was definitely spotted because he's bringing a present on his head, and Gilius is caught between 3 members of Origin. He's going to tunnel under the wall. Soaz is looking to prevent any further movements. Gilius down to 200 hit points. Kill secured by Sven, and the rest of Elements nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, in trying to support Steve here, but does not take into account that there's teleport to match that, and Elements are falling apart right now.
Soaz making a statement in the first 5 minutes of the game, following Mythy's call into the jungle, and teleporting for what looked to be such an easy tower dive. It wasn't even a tower dive because he ran away from the tower.
Tried to tunnel out.
Yeah, not going to work out. So Origin 1-0-1, a kill on Soaz, a kill for Sven. Now Power Evil's under a little bit of trouble. The double bomb falls short, and therefore Power Evil walks away.
Yeah, just to help him push in. Aika's out of mana, so he just wants his support to walk up, force the wave in so he can base. Aika is running Deathfire, so definitely want to poke a little more with that Victor. He's doing even right now in the mid lane against Power of Evil, but honestly, OG's preemptive decision making, being ahead of the play, is really what's putting them ahead in this game.
I see them continue this pressure. They've got themselves some kills. They've got a good item advantage. I'm going to say start knocking over those towers, because Elements still have got a lot of wave clear. So
oh yeah, by all means, once these outer turrets fall, Elements can do the stall game, play with wave clear, and then use the package to make creative openings right now. But we see Origin playing around Sven in the top lane, facilitating the farm, making sure that he stays thoroughly ahead of his lane opponent, and that is the downside of this very often.
Unfortunate for Soaz. He's going to at least put that steadfast presence down so Rawls is not going to be able to jump in.
Soaz is often the member that does get left behind when Origin plays this style. And we've seen varying degrees of success in him staying alive. The numbers disadvantage. Here he runs into Julius.
So let's take a look. 200 hit points left. Soaz continues to try run away. Flash is available and holds onto it. Does not need it. And rely on that corrupting potion as well.
So here we see Elements mirroring what Origin did on the top side, trying to get a numbers advantage and dive the top laner. But Soaz a little more healthy, a little more careful, and quicker backup too available. Especially as he just got more experience due to the way the early game played out. Now Miffy's healing him up. Soaz obviously has that shield very often available. Interested seeing a dive though, but do you really want to dive a Poppy Alistar? That is
scary.
Very, very scary.
And we did see Amazing hanging out in the river as well. He's actually backed away for the time being, and a teleport's been channeled. Steve going to try fend off this top lane tower, but he's 2 levels down under Sven, and Sven's got a BF sword.
Yeah, so he just wants to farm here, but the only person you should be comparing Steve to right now is Soaz, and they are actually even in levels, even in CS, because in the later parts of the game, it's either going to be Power of Evil or Soaz that will have to hold Steve, because it's you want to match teleport with teleport. So far, Elements still have a way back into this game if Origin do the same thing they've done in most of the games, which is sloppy mid-game mistakes. Victor can very easily punish that because he can keep wave clearing the mid over and over. Eventually, a rotational mistake or overreach from Origin will get punished by a side lane turret from Elements, and the game will be even again.
Elements are going to be hoping to make that game even. We've crested 8 minutes, which means Rawls is going to have access to the package for any sort of surprise ganks. Good Thunderlord's hit onto Soaz.
Package does not get stopped by Poppy W, I'm pretty sure. You become untargetable, so you don't get stopped by any flays, any hooks until you land. So I'm thinking to see if Soaz is aware of that.
Well, he can get in, but then he can't get out if that Poppy W's on. Let's see how Mr. Rawls makes use of that ability, and just how Elements want to bounce back. They got themselves a couple of wards into the bottom quadrant of the map. So Amazing, you can see the ward top left corner of your screen is just about a timeout. So Elements had some information that is slowly going to wear out. And we'll see who's going to get ahead in the Vision game. Still lots of yellow trinkets as we're still fairly early on.
Also, to get Steve back into the game, we need to track if Sprattle is going to use his passive to give him a little bit of that XP nudge. So the passive stores experience in a bustle and then can carry it over to an ally. Zillion's coming for the defense. Teleport from behind. Looking at dive. No Zillion ultimate available.
There is not yet. Sprattle does have flash. It's going to be a 4v3. The culling is chunking across. Steadfast presses to hold Sprattle in place. He's the first victim. Now they turn the focus to Gilius. Sven continues to chunk him down. It's a 2-for-1 as Amazing's gone down. Miffy fell as well. It's got a little messy. Supports and junglers have both died in the exchange, and that turret was very helpful.
So yeah, AK roams down. He beats the... he arrives pretty much at the same time as Power of Evil. Something went wrong with that dive. 2 for 2. And Steve is farming on the top lane. So this is a failed play from Origin. Elements are happy with this.
Yeah, got to see on the bottom half of the fight exactly what happened, but Elements got their first kills of the game.
Things Elements do well here is Gilius will move forward. He basically doesn't want to allow Miffy to get double combo and at least be able to cancel him. Gets a double knockup the second the tower starts damaging. So Miffy will die. He just get angry about the fact that he will die and pulverizes the floor. So Gilius' zoning overall allowed Elements to stall Miffy. He didn't get a double combo off, and they were simply too weak to execute that dive this long. Took too much tower damage. So good stalling from Elements, and Origin will no longer be able to do that play because next time they attempt it, Zillion ulti will be in place.
Yeah, Miffy didn't have access to his either, hence the tower damage.
Yep.
Dropping him would actually look very quickly. But it would at level 5 as a support. A lot of fans in favor of Origin. No real surprise there. And they've still got a good foundation, I think, to set themselves up for the rest of this game. What I do like as well is Origin have been very proactive. All of the teleports, all the aggressive plays, despite some maybe mishandling situations. It is good to see them trying to get ahead early.
We are approaching a level 9 Poppy though, and at that point, you can do some pretty interesting combos where you can literally chain CC somebody into death. So you can open with Q from Soaz to slow him, then get in position to knock him into the wall, ulti again, and then Q again, and that should be enough to kill somebody. I think we saw Hanser do it against Huni, I believe in the North American LCS, where he just straight up killed him 100-0. in the Poppy Fiora matchup. So riposte being used properly is fundamental in the later parts of this matchup.
And he took 0 points of damage because of just perfectly timing that CC chain you just described. I expect Soaz would be capable of those mechanical feats. Soaz has got a good history of introducing a champion to his pool for the first time and looking exceptionally good on that champion. Look at the top half of the map because there is some support coming in behind Soaz. Grand Challenge has been issued. Soaz is trying to get away. He knocks Steve up into the air. The Hammer Shock was used to, I believe, slow Gilius. And Soaz may have even been able to turn that one around. Now Power of Evil. He fancies a shot at Ica. He's going to get the Glitzer Lance out, and the Gravity Field thwarts that engage.
Yeah, Steve showing his inexperience in the matchup. At the very end of the Poppy W, he actually dashes in, lunges forward, gets it cancelled. Soaz escapes the chase.
This opens the opportunity for Dragon. Remember, Gilius showed top, so lower threat of him being here. And Origin just playing with the tempo, playing the map.
Yeah, but look what's going on though. Origin were vastly outplaying Elements in the earlier parts of the game, being one step ahead. Right now they're poking at the end, but bot lane has double wave clear, enough to clear those waves in time. Mid lane has Victor. You will never be able to group on a Victor, so a play a lot of these Lulu compositions very often want to make is like, so they group with the jungle in the bot lane, take tier 1, then they rotate into the mid lane and try and zone and poke out the mid laner. But Victor is pretty much immune to that unless you want to dive him. So Elements, they can stay in the game. So again, we need to look at how the matchup between Steve and Soaz evolves.
So far, Steve has found his way back in. Only 200 or 300 gold behind Soaz thanks to the CS numbers he's been able to pick up. But Soaz wants to, or rather Amazing wants to change that. There's a dash, there's no stun, and Soaz tried that heroic charge against the wall. Steve continues to chase forward in the river. The junglers will show face, and the action's not kept to the top lane. A two-man pulverize from Mithy to save the tower and the threat for Sven, but he's low on mana, so no further engage. And all of a sudden, Elements are pushing Origin back in 2 of the 3 lanes.
Yeah, the momentum kind of swinging, so we'll need to see Amazing find an opening. 0-1 and 2 are not least in right now. Gilius got back into the game. He got counter jungled very early on, but he's now a level ahead of Amazing. Let's not forget how this game started. Mithy pathed into the red jungle. Took advantage of Elements not covering the brushes. Always do your jungle camps in the brushes if you can. Stole the red buff, but right now Amazing level 8, Gilius level 9. Bot lane's equaled out. Amazing coming around though.
Chrono Shift's available. Sprotle, if he finishes, has cancelled, so there's going to be some fighting power. In the middle lane, Ica's in trouble. He gets caught by the Ghost, throws the Chaos Storm back in reply. Wild Growth held. Now the next target will be Gilius. Mithy does not find the headbutt pulverize again, I should point out. Still not able to consistently land it, but they've got control of the buff.
So, talked a lot to Miffy about the failed combos, and there's a couple scenarios where if gap closes get initiated while you're mid-combo, it may actually become impossible for you to correctly land a combo, but I don't think we saw a single instance of tunnel being initiated, so that one...
That one's on Mithy.
I'm sorry, man, but that one was you screwing up.
Well, I like seeing Mithy's picked up those distortion boots already, nice and early.
Yeah.
Again, another signal that he wants to look to engage and do it frequently.
Different approach to item builds though here from Alistar's in Europe compared to the LCK, or if you want to turn it around, different approach in LCK compared to the rest of the worlds. If you watch a lot of LCK matches, all the Alistars are pretty much going Moby Boots into Ruby Crystal into then finish Sightstone, so they're still sticking to the mobility boots approach to Alistar. We saw Mata do it in the LPL too, so still in the middle about it. I am a big fan of the Swiftness boots, especially against this composition where you want to be able to run through the Zillion if he ever slows you.
Yeah, that time walk gets really powerful at later levels.
And it's actually something that's not quite as visible. You know, a stun, okay, the guy stopped moving, but having to interpret slows both with and against your team is something that requires practice, so I do hope Elements have practiced the Zillion. Niv did tell me before the game that it could come out today, so likely assume that they practiced it and this isn't just like looking at the champion list. Hang on, Soaz.
Let's take a look. There's support coming from Amazing. The Grand Challenge is out. Soaz is able to get Steve out of mana. The challenge does get proc, but the heal does not matter. And an easy 2-on-1.
Yeah, this is why I love Iceborne Gauntlet on Poppy, because you no longer need walls to kill people. Gilius should be fine here. Support's coming in from Sprotle at the bottom, with Serral's on the top of your screen. But yeah, so he ease in, then slows with Q, then slows with the Iceborne Gauntlet proc, and it's so hard for Steve to escape there.
Little Lance does tag Ica, and Sven's gonna linger over the wall. look to secure Rift Scuttler. No, it's not a Rift Scuttler, it's a Rift Herald.
Probably was the Rift Scuttler in
I
a
know,
long
I
time
just-
ago, and then he ate the wrong
I can't
fish.
get it up my
Mutated.
head.
Yeah.
I keep calling it the Rift Scuttler.
Pollution of Summoner's Rift River has spawned this foul creature. So, kids, recycle. Or your scuttlers become heralds, and you confuse Trevor.
Yeah. One day I'll learn the correct thing. But Sven has quietly been building up power. Essence Reaver completed, Rapid Fire Cannon completed, Soaz gonna pin Gilius against the wall. There's no
Gotta be
ultimate
careful.
available, but Gilius can't tunnel out. Iceborne's gonna keep him slow. Steve's coming for backup. There is a no teleport from Power of Evil, and Gilius is forced to flash away. Now Soaz is trying to get out. Keeper's Verdict still not available. Soaz gets the shield, the stun against the wall as well, and Soaz may get out alive. Hammer Shot comes down, but he will get killed by Steve, biting off more than he can chew and face palming in the player cam.
That's not Steve, that's the crowd. But yeah.
Soaz did a moment ago.
Miffy, phase 2.
Flash forward and headbutts Gilius backwards. Amazing gets the kill. It's not over yet, gentlemen, because now Steve is in trouble. Mithy's going to look for the combo. Sonic Wave will fall short, and Steve gets away.
I love that little moment of hesitation where he's like, should I combo? And then amazing Q's over. You know what? I don't want to fail another one. Let's just Q flash, knock him backwards, secure the kill from Mithy right there. I think he was in range for the combo. But yeah, we see how deceptively strong that Q ability from Poppy is right now. On rank 5, it's on a 4 seconds cooldown. And it takes 6% of the max health on the second proc. So it just does so much damage of your max HP, so you get whittled down really easy by that. You saw Gilius too, he was clearing that ward and suddenly he found himself at 35% HP, he had to flash out. It took both flashes to eventually take down Soaz, and he bought enough time for Origin to come in and seal the deal there. So we're seeing a little more even mid-game. Elements fighting back here and there, and Steve is still in the game.
Yeah. 127 CS, 306. That Soaz has picked up a full culling. Actually, the full culling almost eaten by Ica. Wild Growth still available for Power Reveal. Let's see if Ica's willing to stick around. Hex Drinker picked up by Sven. No real surprise considering the amount of magic damage that Elements are putting on the Rift. And Mithy and Amazing maybe trying to push forward to threaten a dive under the tower for the time being. Not really because of the wave clear from Ica.
Yeah, Elements keeping their flanks warded, keeping enough members in mid lane if Ica's not there, making sure this mid lane tower stays alive. That is what they need to do. That is their #1 goal. And then meanwhile, they send Steve to every side lane. He keeps soaking experience, soaking minions, getting stronger because he needs to win that battle eventually, 1v1 against Soaz.
Soaz was able to get a lot of time in that top lane. He shoved the entire wave into the inner turret. And also should point out that Origin have got themselves a 3,000 gold lead with that additional tower and dragon and kills, so slowly extending it from what they picked up at the 5-minute mark.
Oh, this could be a mistake. Aika's pathing it for the dragon here. This is first dragon for Elements. Mid lane is exposed. There is no minion wave though, but if Origin can just keep them at bay, and then they can rotate back to the mid lane. They're looking for a fight though.
Origin want more than keeping them at bay. They want the fight! Wild Growth has been used to keep Mithy alive, and the boot back is sent into Gilius' face. Defensive flashes as Soaz his zone rolls away. They've got Sprattle. Chrono Shift was not used. Next target should be Ica. He was caught by the Sonic Wave, and Amazing takes him down. Steve manages to get a kill on Sven and procs the grand challenge. It's a 3-for-1 in favor of Origin.
Yeah, no hesitation on the side of Origin. Sloppy in some regards, but they still come out with 3 kills against 1. Miffy goes in, gets the Wild Growth on top of him to chain the knockups together. Soaz teleports in. Mr. Wall is at the brink of getting stunned into the wall there, but managed to Valkyrie out. But overall, Origin did not want to sit back and trade Dragon for mid. They wanted both.
Just calm and collected. You saw those player cams after the fight. Origin, cool as cucumbers, I think is the term. I managed to make it out.
Cucumbers?
Yeah, I don't
Cool?
really know. I think so. You have to keep them in the fridge or something. Power of Evil shoving the wave under the tower here. That mid lane down to a third. Wild Growth and Flash are available for Power of Evil. He's going to bait them in as deep as he can. There's the Wild Growth. That's the slow as well. Steve is in a little bit of trouble. Miffy finds the combination, and Steve is running away. Chrono Shift will bring him back to life, but here comes Sven. The culling's available for him. The parry comes out, and the shutdown as Sven gets the kill. Full channel on the culling. You can dodge, dip, duck, and dive, but you cannot get away from Sven. Sprattle follows shortly.
Yeah, Origin, as cool as an egg that you also keep in the fridge. Get 2 more kills here. Miffy this time, good combo, follow-up. Multi-bomb wasn't efficient enough. Sven picks up 2 kills, and now It's looking grim. Mid tower falls. Both engages here. Let's watch that again. This is the initial fight. So Miffy gets double bombed. Dragon gets started. So some teams may choose to just rotate mid here. Miffy gets sent in with ultra speed from the Winzy. Has to combo because otherwise he would got stunned by the magic foot from Zikter. That's good. Good kick by Amazing on 3. Look at Mr. Rawls here. Barely dodges the Soa stun into the wall. But then everybody's dropping. Spratzel forgets or doesn't use the ultimate on himself. Amazing flashes to get in range for the second part of the Q. Good. Steve picks up 1 kill, but at this point the fight is lost. So overall, really good fight from Origin there. Mithy had to go in for the combo. Did not want to ultimate outside of or out of the gravity field. Really just wanted to get the combo and hit 2 people. Wild Growth. And that's what Origin is looking for. We talked about it in Champs League. Group up, preferably. If Soas can flank, even better. You know, a team fight with Poppy coming from the back is the ideal scenario. Getting a multi-kick there obviously helps too.
And still, like, impressive play from Origin. We're 23 minutes in, and they are non-stop in Element's face. They're continually forcing fights where they can. Sven 5-1 and 3 already.
I mean, it's highlighting some of the errors in both these teams. So Origin, yes, they're going for these plays. Some of them still need polishing though. They had some really good opening moments, but then they had a little bit of a moment where they were struggling when Elements had the gold gap closed down to maybe 1,100, 1,500, and the Victor wave clear was kicking in. But then you saw the problem with Elements is that they're not very good at setting up their own plays.
Yeah.
They're playing very reactive, you know, so as doing with Steve and Gilius coming in, Gilius cleaning a ward on his own without the backup. Yes, the backup was eventually there, but it wasn't organized. Amazing now, Dozin gets knocked up, looking for the kick.
Good damage onto Gilius, another Sonic Wave hits. Just contrast that to week 1, Amazing, where he missed a number of Sonic Waves, already feeling more comfortable on the stage. And for Elements, too eager. You know, that mid lane dive that cost them their middle turret, that cost them 2 more kills, was chasing Power of Evil on low mana.
Yep.
Let's see, Amazing. Does he want this fight? There's support from Soaz coming from mid lane. Challenging for the red buff, a double time bomb. We'll get 2 stuns from Amazing and Mithy. Red buff will be secured by Rawls as it flies over.
I mean, Origin will have to be careful here. They're starting the Baron. Let's see if Elements has any blue trinkets available to use, or if they even realize this is happening. They find out right now, 6,400 HP.
It's gonna be a little close here. Pulling the risky Baron for Origin. Steve is coming up through the river. Elements are not grouped yet, and Soaz is trying to zone, looking for a stun. Here's the engage. Steve gets tagged. The stun against the wall from Soaz onto Gilius. Keeper's verdict was not fired, but the culling was. Elements are trying to stay alive, and Spratzel takes a gigantic crit, and he's forced to run away.
Yeah, and again, this is highlighting the issue with both these teams. Origin trying to force a Baron, which is in itself okay. We're gonna see Poppy ulti to disengage the wave clear.
Oh,
either Victor steps out of range, or he gets hit. Either way, that tower falls. So that's a good ultimate by Soaz overall.
Definition of zoning ultimate.
Zoning ultimates, literally. Either it hits you, or the dodge itself activates the purpose of the ultimate. Great. But Elements, they stopped the Baron. They had Origin chunked, but Steve, he stuck around to clear that ward. That baited in Gilius, he got it over the wall. So they're not realizing when to step forward, when to step backwards at the exact time. And even a 2-second difference can cost you games at this level. So we still need to see that refined from Elements.
Might even cost a Baron off screen. Spratzel is just killed easily. Gilius is now going to move in. 2,500 hit points. Amazing is going to go for the smite threat, but the knockback deny from Soaz. Ike is trying to kill Sven in the back line. Flash and heals Baron. The Culling's trying to go back as Amazing continues to tank up the Baron. All of a sudden, Sven is down. Elements have found the team fight they were looking for. Soaz will follow. He's flashed over the wall, but the Gatling gun secures a kill. And just like that, Elements are back in the game.
Yeah, this is a sequel from last week. Do you want to build a throw mine yet again here from Origin? You're doing Baron? You want to keep the jungle out? Good. 1 guy going over? Fucking love it. It's 2 guys going over. I shouldn't have said that. 2 guys going over? Maybe not so great. Your entire team going over and your jungler staying in the pit? That
makes
is
sense.
A little bit of a mistake. Amazing panics, fail flashes into the wall, and then the Wild Growth comes out.
Well, Crepo, it's not over yet. Baron is going lower. 1,500 hit points will get secured here. And Gilius, Chrono Shift not needed. The goal difference is still big, 6,000. But Baron, plus Baron minions, can at least close that deficit. And
Yeah.
Origin have to buy time.
No, now Elements are definitely able to get back into the game. So let's see what's being used here on Sprato. But probably kick into, kick CC, Chase CC, he can't ultimate himself. This is good. But right now, Elements is in range to contest. So the goal is to keep Gilius away. There's no kick available, so it's all on Mithy. Sven goes over to help, and I think that's the crucial mistake. Look at this. Just keep your eyes on Amazing right now. We have seen this fight before, but just look at what Amazing's doing. He's like, guys, can I help? No. Flash. Wildgrowth gets used. Meanwhile, Soas is over the wall. Complete, chaos. Miscommunication again. Soas wastes his flash too. And suddenly, Elements pick up the Baron. Now they have a Victor that can clear waves wherever. They have the ability to side lane push with Baron buffs. You see Spratle funneling some XP over. And suddenly this gold gap could become smaller.
Yeah, Elements also got their first dragon. So at 27 minutes into the game, that's 6%. Again, clawing back that gold difference in at least statistics-wise. Now, how do Elements use this Baron? Baron power plays. How much more gold do they earn than Origin while the buff is active? We can see Gilius pushing with Void Rush available. Teleport is going to be available soon for Steve. And Origin's first port of call is to thwart Gilius down bottom.
So in Champs, like we talked about how Elements is running a 4-1 composition, and generally you want to start a slow push in one lane, send your solo laner to the other one, and have 4 members together. But they actually adapt and make this into a 1-3-1 because their jungler with Baron buff can actually serve as a mobile split pusher too. They should be careful in the mid lane then, but with the speed up from Spratle, they have enough disengage and poke.
Oh, the Pulverize does not find a target though. Mithy was moving forward with that headbutt. Gilius is still fighting Amazing down bottom, and Elements, they got the top outer turret and they've got the middle.
Yeah, if you spread out a team fight, protect the AD carry Lulu composition, you can whittle them down, poke them away. That's what you want to do. And Elements here using Gilius to lock down Amazing, another form of engage in the bottom lane, while Steve with the Baron buff should be able to beat Soas in the top lane. That's really good shot calling here from Elements overall. They create a 1-3-1 out of their 4-1 composition because they have the Baron buff.
Congratulations to Elements for catching the mistakes that Origin presented. Gilius, he's still sticking around, and Mithy's going to be the first Origin member to come help Amazing out. Try clear these waves. Gilius is now under some threat. Sven gets autos and the rest of Elements are grouped up. TP is available for Steve, so as we'll have his in just a few seconds. A double stun onto Sven.
Yeah.
But they held the tower, so 2 outer turrets have already fallen.
Yeah, there's about 2,000 extra gold in the pockets of Elements right now compared to Origin, so they're all basing trying to spend that. Again, it doesn't matter what your gold difference is. If you haven't spent the gold, it doesn't really matter. But they use the pressure to get back into the game. We saw Origin not use a 6,000 gold lead earlier in the game to get an efficient Baron. They may struggle to get an efficient Baron now, which means this game could go on for a while.
If you're an Elements fan, that's probably what you're looking for. Get Victor and Fiora into an even better situation and hope that Spratle can actually use Chrono Shift, because the Zillion, I think the zoning of those double time bombs has been very evident this game, but I've not felt the presence in team fights with that Chrono Shift as much.
No, what it did very well though is once you're moving in, if this doesn't take to a fight here.
Gigantic crits there from Sven. Oh, that's my word of the day. I'll try and cut back on it. There we go. Culling onto Ica. A defensive package use back from Rawls.
It's a red
the rest
carpet.
of us moving in.
Is this indicating that you want your teammate to walk over this, go home?
Let's take a look. Steve, he gets a good chunk under Soas. Soas does not want this fight. He's flashed over the wall. Steve does not follow the bait. And instead, if he sticks around, there are members of Origin to group around.
Yeah, so the way that Origin wants to close out, ideally, if they are significantly ahead, is push both waves in top and mid, get some vision in between, and set up Fog of War for that Baron. The problem is right now, Steve is pulling ahead of Soas, and in the mid lane, yes, there was some gigantic crits, but if they don't result into a kill, you can't get the waves deep enough for the deep vision. Power Eagle gets chunked.
Wow, Mr. Rawls and Thunderlords, the bomb is not going to be enough. Wow, face of the mountain, and all of the shields come out.
But flash from Mithy. He had to flash to keep Power Reveal alive. Power Reveal had to flash out of the bombs. Right now, Spratle will offer a lot of zone in teamfights. Mr. All gets sped up.
And Sven just sidesteps everything. This time round, the Chrono Shift was on point, and Mr. All comes back to life. Steve is teleported in. He's not put down the challenge yet. The culling almost snipes Mr. All. Summoning heal. No, that wasn't. It was Mikhail's heal has been used to keep him up, and now Amazing. Look for the Sonic Wave. It's got an easy target. He's followed it with the Resonating, and Steve fired the riposte. No
Look at the
additional
bottom lane, no
kickback.
Gilius.
Gilius wants the tower at the cost of so many summoner spells. Tower number 4 has fallen. Chaos Storm's been dropped. Sven has found Ica, and that's the wave clear down. Elements did everything right, but now it's falling apart. Inhibitor turret has fallen. Gilius starts to recall, and the Origin members will get the first inhibitor of the game.
Unrelenting pressure in the middle here from Origin. No intention to go back at all. Ica oversteps, they lose the wave clear, they may lose their base.
Let's take a look. Origin are setting it up, and they've booted Mr. Rolls away. Steve is down as well. Now with the defensive play from Elements, they have to stay alive. Gilius gets interrupted and knocked up. That's another member down. 20 seconds before Ica's wave clear comes into play. Origin, they're sticking around. The minions are funneling into the base, and they're keeping the siege up for now.
Elements can hold, they need the next minion wave to reduce the resistances of this tower. Sprottel's here, ultimate's available, they need to go in, buy some time, get those minions down.
8 seconds for Ica. The knockback from Soaz. Steve has got Chrono Shift. He's buying time. Ica has respawned, and Steve is now dropped. A defensive flash from Sprottel. A stun against Rolls. Soaz and Amazing are able to double team him and get the kill. A knock away from Ica. The ghosts are being used. Origin are looking to finish it off, but not before they've killed Ica. The fountain dive from Amazing to simply send a message, and Origin